microphone is on. Hi guys, I'm 𝘋𝘪𝘢𝘳𝘴 and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is January 11th. I'm just about to run out to go have dinner with my family, but I thought I would sit down and film a little video. This is my 11th diary entry of this month. Ooh, this one's gonna be a fun one. This one I'm going to be titling Changing Partners Instead of Changing Yourself. Now, I think that this is such a trendy thing, at least for my generation, because people are so quick to like meet someone or fall in love with someone, and then the minute that that person wants them to become a better person and focus on themselves and, you know, tells them things like, hey, doing this and this kind of thing like makes me feel like this. I feel like not once, but like when your partner pushes you and wants you to be better, sometimes people that don't want to change or don't want to grow will just leave. They'll just be like, well, you know, I'm this way. I'm never going to change. This is just how I am. That's a big one that people like to say is that's just how I am. And there's like a lack of awareness or self-awareness or accountability and understanding that like I love you. I think you're an amazing person. I think you're an awesome person. But, you know, in order for you to like be better or in order for you to be like a more healthy person or in order for you to be like a more well-rounded, better version of yourself, maybe you have to fix this or work on this. And I totally believe it is on your delivery as well. Like you want to make sure you're delivering information to people in a way that doesn't hurt them or doesn't make them feel bad. But at the same time, you know, you can't like consciously make it like always make an effort to like worry about someone's feelings. Like if you explain something and they take it in a wrong way, like they also have to be open to like feedback and wanting to be better for themselves. And, you know, it being in a relationship where someone wants to hold you to a high standard, loves you, knows how good of a person you are, knows how good of a person you can be, you know, they're going to call you on your bullshit. And, you know, a big one in my last relationship was like how he talked to his guy friends, how he talks to his guy friends when I'm not around. And like, I don't know, I feel like it was pretty trendy this year for girls to be like, oh, you know, never date a guy that likes Instagram posts or follow girls. And I think that all of that is amazing. I think that's like literally the bare minimum. Like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to not want your partner to like be liking and engaging with other women's stuff. And that goes for like gay people as well. Like I'm sure, you know, most monogamous gay men are not like wanting their partner to be like idolizing and putting this person that they don't even know on the shelves or on a pedestal, sorry. So for me, like I was, I guess, lucky in that regard. Like he wasn't liking other girls' pictures or following other girls, but you know, his guy friends, like the way that they would talk about women or basically just about women or about the past or just like about women and certain experiences or just about other women when I wasn't around or that kind of thing was repulsive and like literally disgusting. I remember he had went on a family trip to Portugal, and when he came back, I wasn't invited on this trip. I actually talked about this in a video, how they invited his sister's ex-boyfriend in front of me at the table but never invited me. They literally made a point to invite him in front of me. After the trip, he dumped her immediately and I was still with him. And anyway, so he had went back with his family in January, and when he came home, I had like a gut feeling. I just felt like something wasn't right. Like I don't know. I had a gut feeling that like something wasn't right. So being, you know, the person that I am, I want to know what's going on. So I checked his phone and I saw that they were talking about other women, and my partner at the time had made a comment like, oh, I'll save them for when I'm in Portugal, and like just comments like that. And like, you know, I understand that it's like funny to joke around and have fun with your friends, but this was just like such another level. And you know, like I had thought of myself at that point, and I was like, I would never, like, I don't make a point in my life to text my friends about other guys. I don't make a point in my life to like talk about or just any of that shit with my friends in a group chat. Like, it's just not something that like I do. Like, if we're out in public and, you know, I can remember a specific time, like we had a girls' night. We were like literally in like one of the hot spots of town or whatever. One of my girlfriends was single, and there was this guy staring at her. We were like, oh my God, that guy's so hot for you, da da da. Like, of course, like it's okay to be like a normal, healthy person. It just depends on your intention. And I feel like when you're literally on your phone in a group chat, like texting about it, there's just something so premeditated and disgusting about it. Like, I don't know, it just for me crossed a boundary for sure. And I had brought it up and I said, like, let me look at your phone. I need to see the rest of it. I just felt like shit about it. And that was in January, and I remember us making a point of like, he was like, I'm gonna work on it, I'm gonna stop doing it. And then in March, which was like 2 months later, I looked again because I was like, okay, well, let's see if, you know, if my feelings are being taken into consideration and the things that you're saying you're going to change and work on are you're actually doing. It was worse. It was literally worse when I looked the second time. So I was like, okay, clearly you have no intention on changing any of this. You have no awareness of, or maybe you just don't give a shit how I feel. So at that point I was like, okay, so I really have to like kind of weigh the pros and cons of like, even if I could be in this relationship, like this, you're defying me multiple times. And then when you do take accountability on fixing it, you're like still doing it when I check it randomly 2 months later. So it's just shit like that. And we actually ended up breaking up at the end of that month on the 20th, or well, he left on the 26th. We didn't break up till April 11th, but it was clearly like a big topic of conversation for our relationship. And that ties into how easy it is to just change your partner as opposed to changing yourself. Like when he moved back home to Toronto, it must have been so much easier to find a girl that would put up with that kind of thing, because men will gaslight you and be like, oh my God, I know a girl that would never act that way. I know a girl that would never do that. And it's like, you may know girls like that. You may know girls that will tolerate your bullshit. You may know girls that have no standards. You may know girls that don't advocate for themselves and they try to be the cool girl and pretend like everything's fine and that these little things don't bother them, just to make it seem like, you know, that they're cool or whatever, or like they're the cool girl, the chill girlfriend, like, oh my God, your girlfriend's so chill, she doesn't care about shit like that. Maybe deep down it's eating her inside, right? So I was at a point in my life where like I just couldn't be the cool girl, be the chill girl. I had to advocate for myself, what I wanted, what I didn't want. And for me, that was something I didn't want. Like, I had spent months before that, years before that in our relationship, doing what most people do in relationships, where they're like, you either decide to stay or you decide to leave. And if you're going to stay, you have to just let it go and move on and move forward. And I had tried to do that, but then I realized later in the relationship, I was like, I literally cannot let this go. Like, it's a hard stop. I don't appreciate talking to your friends that way over text. About women, it's an ick for me. It's like literally an ick. You know, like, boys can be boys, but you don't have to be like, you are who you surround yourself with. Like, if your friends act like that and talk about women like that, and you are perfect around me, but I see that on your phone, it's like, clearly that's how you think. Like, clearly deep down, that's like part of your thought process, you know? You are who you surround yourself with. So if that's the kind of stuff that we're entertaining when we think that you're not around, it's not like a one-time fluke mistake, move on, you know, become better from it. It's like, oh, it's a pattern. And when you see patterns and people aren't willing to change anything, then you have to really decide, like, okay, is this something I want in a partner? And if it's not, then bye. Like, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, I always tell people all the time, like, when you see your ex or someone in a relationship right away after you broke up, they're not better than you. They're not, like, they may be prettier than you, whatever, but they're not like a better person than you. When you first meet someone, it's like the honeymoon phase, and you don't really know that much about them, and you kind of only see what they're showing you. Like, you don't know them well enough to see the truth of who they are yet. So they can kind of just be whatever. And, you know, they may be okay with certain things that your previous partner wasn't, but that doesn't make them a better partner, a better person than you were to them, you know? It just means that they're willing to put up with things that you weren't. Their standards were lower than you, I guess. That's probably what it is. It doesn't mean that because they moved on so quickly that they've changed everything you wanted them to change, and they've grown up and they've become so much more emotionally aware. None of that's the case. They're probably the exact same person. They just chose someone that would put up with the bullshit that they're continuing to not want to change about themselves. So, you know, it's a huge thing. Like, I talk to people all the time when they're like, yeah, my ex moved on so quick. And I'm like, trust me, like, this person that they're with isn't like this holier than thou person. They just haven't figured them out yet. Like, trust me. And, you know, changing yourself, sometimes, like, if you don't want to change yourself, like, that's totally fine. But at the same time, like, usually if your partner voices something that they are or are not okay with, if it's reasonable, you should be able to, like, accommodate. Like, if they're like, as a man, you can't have any body hair, or like something like that. Like, that would be like you being like, well, this is my body, I want to have body hair, that kind of thing. But if it's as simple as like, hey, do you want to maybe try to make an effort to not talk to your friends like that about women, or to not do that behind my back, or to not engage in that kind of rhetoric? If it's as simple as something that actually can be changed, something that, like, can actually just easily be oh my god, actually be easily done, then, you know, you have to really weigh the pros of you have to actually weigh the pros and cons of, like, do I want to be with this person, and am I going to be able to look past this for the rest of our relationship? Because if they're not willing to change it and they're not willing to stop the behavior, like, you're either going to have to put up with it or leave. And, you know, there were parts of that relationship that brought out some of the worst qualities in me. And I think that when you're in a relationship and you work together, you become closer and you become a unit. When one person is voicing something and the other isn't fixing it or isn't listening, it can bring out the worst parts in this person, because they are shifting and being made to put in a place where they can't be securely attached if they're anxiously or avoidantly attached. Because when you're not connecting on a healthy level to be both securely attached and add to each other's lives in a beautiful way, if you're anxious and you're communicating to the avoidant person that I want to talk to you more, and they run away, that's going to bring out a lot of those anxious qualities. And vice versa, if you're avoidant and they're anxious and you know, they're communicating, hey, I'm not able to do this between this hour, but I will be available at this time. And then this person isn't listening, like, they're just going to want to avoid more. And then there's no middle ground. So listening to your partner and actually listening and actually, like, being there for each other and, you know, trying to be better in the relationship is only going to make the partnership stronger, the relationship stronger, the trust and the bond stronger. But it'll also help you practice, like, holding space for each other. Because, like, relationships take two, they don't just take one person. And you can't go into a relationship half a person and make a whole person. You both have to be whole, complete individuals. And then when you come together, it's like a union, and it's balanced, and it actually is beneficial to each other. So, yeah, I mean, especially in my generation, it is so popular to change your partner instead of changing yourself. And again, you know, you shouldn't need to change everything about your partner. But when you're together for 2.5 years and you're living together and I bring up a concern like that, you know, that should have been a conversation of like making a change, right? Like, it's not like I'm just meeting you after 5 minutes and being like, stop following girls on Instagram. Like, if you have to tell your partner that when you first meet them, you probably want to avoid them completely. Like, now when I go into dating or now when I meet someone, I want them to be acting the way that I would act or I would want someone to act in a relationship from day one. And then when you build a partnership and a unionship, if things happen months later where you're like, hey, this really kind of upsets me and hurts my feelings, I was just wondering if it would be a possibility for us to talk about it and come to a resolution that works for both of us, like healthy people. You know, like, it's not hard unless you make it hard. And if you don't care enough to like work on it, because that's where one person's doing more than the other and it's not balanced, and then you're just going to create resentment and animosity. So whew. But yeah, you guys, just a quick video. I'm gonna pop over to my dad's for dinner. I'm gonna have a really, really early night tonight. I'm so tired. And yeah, diary entry number 11 is complete. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow in my next entry. Bye, guys.